Good morning and happy Friday, everyone. Hello, Austin. It's quite a week. A lot's gone on. We've looked at a lot of companies, but before we jump into some of the companies that we want to talk about right now, let's do a quick Gamestop check-in and see what's happening over there.
Yeah, it's been it's been a hell of a week as far as GameStop is concerned. It's kind of holding firm around that 260, 270 range. A lot of speculation over whether the second squeeze has happened, if it's over, if there's more to come. And I mean, really, for so many people, this is just a guessing game. It'll be interesting to see at the close of the day today what the short float is still sitting at. I think a lot of retail investors will use that to decide whether or not they're going to continue trying to look at this stock to potentially get up there. And yeah, so it'll be interesting to see kind of where things are sitting at the close of the day today, and that'll sort of lead into what's going to happen next week, what we could expect to see out of this.
Excellent. Well, I definitely saw that there was life breathed into it again. It's certainly not done as much as a lot of the media wants to kind of leave it alone and not encourage it. It doesn't matter. I don't think the media realize that they have no influence or impact on it, and that also might annoy them. This power and this influence that is in the internet side of things, the media can reshape it to those that aren't reading Reddit or not involved, but they're not able to influence the people that are in it and doing the work. So it's interesting because it's a whole change in how we're interacting with markets, with information, with data. And lines of sand are drawn in the sand as to how people want to engage and get information. And that battle we've seen in politics, we've seen it in other streams, but now we're seeing it in the market as well. And let me just put it this way: I don't see the legacy mainstream news winning this narrative over the long term. But it's interesting to follow it, and we'll leave it at that for now without getting too much into the details. But
yeah, exactly. Just to kind of add on what you said there, it feels like the harder they dig their heels in to try to fight against this, the more it adds fuel to the fire on the other side of, screw these guys. Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's make this happen. So yeah, you're absolutely right in that.
Well, because it highlights that these quote unquote media, and I don't call them news. Most of it isn't news. Most of these are public relations or bought advertisements. It's very clear who pays for them, and that is becoming more and more obvious to people over the long term. They're starting to see that wait a second, how come you're not protecting the little guy? Why are you now all of a sudden you're over here, you're protecting the little guy, but now you're back into hedge fund mode? Yeah. So it's to me, I mean, it's obvious, but other people, which on the Reddit stream or other online will say the normies are starting to some of them are starting to figure out that, wait a second, there's something going on here and it doesn't seem quite right. Yeah. But so that's interesting. I always love to cover it and follow it because it kind of sneaks into this whole short selling attack theme that we've been going through as well. And we talked about Extra and we've talked about MVMD, and both of those have recovered a bit. But MVMD has come back a lot since we got a good call out from the company as well. They sent a quick hello and thank you to us, which was wonderful. And once again, we want to reiterate, we have no relationship with them. I haven't even called them. I just looked at the information I had. I wanted to make sure that I was a distanced third party. And then, of course, we had Brandon on, who was involved in them right from the very start. Come on and teach me a little bit more and to teach you a little bit more about the company. And that video has really picked up a lot of steam. I think it's at 1.3 or 1.6 views, or 1,600 views. And that was very quick overnight. And once again, that's not my usual crowd that will watch a video that I work with, or a company I work with. This is just one out of left field that picked up a lot of steam on some Discord channels because Brandon did such a good job who also doesn't work with the company, to explain why he liked the company. And that third party kind of walkthrough, it reminds people of why they bought the company, why they should be interested in it. And it stays away from focusing on price action, which can be troublesome sometimes.
Yeah, it can absolutely be, because if we touched on it last time we were talking about this with Brandon, and saying that if you have a plan and you're secure in the moves that you're making, then you can feel confident about what you're doing. And that's so important when you're looking at a stock like MVMD, when you're looking at a stock that you like in general that is suffering under a short squeeze attack. If you're solid in what your fundamentals are and you know that you support that company, you like that stock, then seeing those price dips isn't going to scare you off of the end game goal, because you know where that company can go, what the potential looks like.
Yeah, and I touched on it quite a bit too, is that we're finalizing a product that we have called the market, the model, the mindset, which touches on this need to have a model, and you're testing a thesis and that you're testing a theory. And that when you're doing that, it takes away a lot of the emotion from it, because if you're taking it from a scientific perspective, or if you're looking at it from a blueprint of we're testing this and we're looking at this, when these emotional responses occur, you're not as prone to just act. And also you're not as prone to switch from your model to then going, oh, well, I better change to this, because that's an immediate. Once you switch a model to another model, that's where most people lose money immediately. They start listening to someone else's ideas and they lose focus. And it's easy to do, even myself. When you get caught in a downturn quickly, you start to second guess and go, whoa, wait a second, like maybe everyone else knows something I don't know. But in this case with it was, there's no news other than good news. Then there isn't an actual factor that's causing the stock to go down. It's just being manipulated down.
Exactly.
And it's good that people are learning a lot of these lessons early right now, so that they can be confident in, I like the stock, I like this company, I like the management, I think they're onto something. If it dips, we're buying the dip.
Buy the dip, yeah, exactly. It's on sale. That's a good a phrase I like to use a lot. Hey, it's on sale right now.
And that flows into nicely. We had a great conversation last night with a company called QuantGate. Yes. Now, I know you're very excited about this because you're more the trader type than I am. I'm a long-term investor kind of person. But this was a very interesting, very smart group that has two products. And once again, it's QuantGateSystems.com, and they've got their pilot trading, as well as their Stealth Pro. Yes. And this is a sentiment-based trading platform that we had a really good chat with yesterday. Austin, give me your first impressions, because we're going to dive deeper into this one over the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, it's something that I personally am extremely excited to kind of get my hands on and really try and learn exactly how their algorithm and their mathematics behind everything works. Then that's the most interesting thing to get across. We're talking to Ilyan Yosef, who's the CEO of the company. He said he's got over 5 million lines of code behind this algorithm that they've created, and it's using essentially mathematical data to develop a trading algorithm that bases it off of human impact and collecting data from non-biased information. So there's a lot of moving parts to it. It's a very complex system, and that's why I'm so excited to really get into it and see what it can do and how it can be applied to the current market and exactly what you can kind of create with that sort of system. And
you'll be going through those 5 million lines of code this weekend, right?
I think so. That's my hope. Right?
Yeah. No, it's definitely impressive. And listening to Ilyan speak, it was very impressive. He's got an understanding of the markets that's very interesting, as well as language. And that was the aspect that I found completely interesting. He has a degree in linguistics, has studied linguistics thoroughly. So this interplay with how do we find information that's online, whether it's credible, the language and the intent behind it. It's a very interesting philosophical conversation. It's too big for right now, but it was certainly a very interesting conversation to have. And we're looking forward to looking at this system, both their pilot kind of retail trading platform, as well as their desktop more professional. And they have a third layer one, I think, called Hydra. We're not even there yet, but definitely interested. It's on our list for the weekend to go through.
Yeah.
And then I'm glad you touched on that, because it also brings us into another company that kind of fits in the same world. Yep. And it's Globex Data, and they are a Swiss safe data company. So it's going to be a rival for your WhatsApp, your Parler, your
Signal,
all of your Signal, all these types of maybe not Telegram, but Proton Mail. So this is a messaging email software type thing that is actually safe. And there is a big distinction, and and this is too big a conversation for now, but we've seen what's happened with WhatsApp and the flight from that. And then people went to other kind of free speech platforms because they don't want to be either kicked out, banned, shadow banned, data saved, stored, tracked. And all of these apps do that. They data mine you, and they will also classify you. They'll put you into lists and whatnot. And that's very disconcerting for some, because if you don't believe in the current narrative, you'll be put in this thought police box of this person has ideas we don't like. And that wouldn't have been a big problem 5 years ago, 10 years ago, but today it's an extremely cognizant problem that's becoming worse and worse in the West. This was a problem that you'd hear about in the 80s in the Soviet Union when you'd hear about Pravda. This is now an issue here in the West, and people now are flocking towards something where they're not going to be tracked, they're not going to be data mined, and they want to find something that is actually secure. We need to look in a little bit deeper, but certainly the conversation we had with this group, Gobex Data Group, with their secure safe, based in Switzerland, is off all of the platforms. They have no association with Amazon, with Google. They're totally off the grid, off of their platforms. There's no sign in with them. This is completely secured in Switzerland, which has some of the strictest, firmest legal and rights views, especially for data. They have zero interest in your data. They're not going to data mine you, so they're not selling your information. They're not even looking. They're making their money off a subscription model. So very interested in this, because I know just for myself, I prefer to have those conversations where I don't feel like everything's being data stored. And certainly I'm not alone.
Yeah, you definitely wouldn't be. I mean, even I've had a Proton Mail account for a number of years now, just because I care about it. And that's kind of the thing to think about with this. If you care about cybersecurity, if you care about data protection, that's something I think a lot of people should be caring about. I think if you aren't caring about that right now, and you're involved in any sort of business or anything like that, you need to be looking at it and thinking about it, because it's extremely important as we move into this kind of new age, this cyber age that we're definitely coming into in the 2020s here. But on top of that, where they do that's really cool, you mentioned not being linked to anyone else, so they're not involved with AWS or Amazon Web Service, for those that don't know the lingo kind of the tech industry. But the other thing that they have is the one-to-one messaging that will delete after a certain time frame. So if I want to send you a quick message about something, I can, hey, Andrew, here's something that we're working on for a project. Here's some info on it. You can take a quick read through it. It's secure. You don't even have to have an account set up for me to be able to send that to you. I can just send it over to you. You can open it securely, and as soon as you're done reading it, the message deletes itself out of there, not stored in the cloud, not stored on a server anywhere. So it's totally encrypted, totally protected. It's about your interests and your security and safety. That's the coolest thing about it to me.
When he was speaking about that, what immediately came to mind was Mission Impossible. Was that this message will destroy in 30 minutes or 1 day or 7 days. You can literally choose how long that message or that conversation goes for, which might be overkill for a lot of people, but for me, no, I think that's amazing. I think it's interesting. But taking out the free speech platform idea is, if you're sending a legal document, if you're sending a contract, if you're sending a mortgage document, it is a big deal now, because these are being hacked routinely. And I'm not being a fearmonger here. It's constant. It's constant attack, and this is going to be it's going to be worse. It's not going to get any better. That's for sure. Yeah. Well, so this is a company we're going to take a look at. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, if like kind of what you were saying there with, if you're not concerned about protecting your data and being secure when it comes to being on the internet, you're exactly the type of person who's going to fall into that kind of trap and have your data stolen from you.
Yeah. So, and don't it's like insurance of any other kind. If you don't care, you don't need insurance, you can leave your front door open. Yeah, go for it. That's no harm, no foul.
That's your decision to make. But
just because you don't know it's happening, it doesn't matter. It's
exactly.
It's your responsibility in this world to find out what's happening. And this is, I mean, even when the mainstream news picks up on different major hacks that have happened over the last 6 months, last year, this is even something that the World Economic Forum, which I've got mixed discussions about, has talked about, that one of the biggest things, not only is we have to be concerned about the future food chain supply, is that they've predicted that there's going to be a massive cyber attack that will be of big concern. So whether or not that happens, we'll see. But I prefer that for I think that their email and their system costs $10 a month. It's something nominal. It's pretty small. Something we're definitely looking at and we're interested in. We're gonna look at it this weekend. We'll have more for people, but I want to give them the heads up on that. And maybe last, just touch on QYOU Media again, because this here, if you want to tap into a market and have an amazing management team that is able to create content and to reach like 650 million middle class or younger people, then this is a media company you want to look at. I mean, I love Canada. I love that Canada's a resource country. We've got a population of, well, let me guess here, 36 billion. As far as a business, I would much rather be looking at something that has access, that has content, and is looking at 650 million active users. I think there's a billion people, but there are 650 active people that want content, that like content, and that have a high appetite and have a high tech threshold. There's a lot of interest in technology there. So this is something, if you want to see explosive growth, this company is really onto something.
Absolutely. And it's funny enough, I'm glad you brought up the population of Canada there for a statistic, because the deal that they just closed, QYOU Media, on Monday, I believe it was, gave them access to another 38 million TV homes in India. Yeah. That's the population of Canada right there in a deal that these guys did on Monday. So yeah, that should give you an idea of the sheer scale of the market that these guys are targeting. And I know we've talked about before, the team they've got behind them is incredible. A lot of momentum rolling in the right direction as far as QYOU Media is concerned.
Excellent. And I believe their stock symbol is QYOU as well. So QYOU. We like the stock. We're going to hopefully have Kurt Marvis on very soon. As well as, I mean, all of these companies, we look forward to having them on here so that people can grill them and ask 20 million questions to them. That's what we want out of this channel, is not only to bring interesting stories that we follow, but to have the people on to really explain what the opportunity is and to open up exciting, big scale, innovative companies with real strong management teams that are doing real work. And that's the thing that we've had a lot of success on in the past, and we're going to stake our future on as well. And you know, before we wrap it up, I do want to talk about Desert Mountain just quickly as well, because I've talked about Desert Mountain for probably a year now. I love this company. It's a helium play, and Robert Rolfing and Erwin Olian, who is a founder of the company. Robert's been running it now for quite some time. It's been doing amazing work. There was a bit of a lull there, but we did a video with them a week ago, and I think it only got about 700 views. But once again, the people that like Desert Mountain and like helium, we get a lot of views, and those are buyers. Those are people very interested in. And if you look at what happened over the last 6 or 7 days, has been really quite impressive. And yes, we did a nice video, and it's great, and you should check it out. But what I kind of tell people is that if you don't want to watch the whole video, just pick any 5 minutes randomly where Robert Rolfing is talking. Is that every comment I've made is, holy smokes, this guy, he knows he's onto something. Like, he doesn't even have to say anything. He's beaming. He's so excited about what's happening here. He has no intention of leaving this company anytime soon. He's driving it forward. And if you look at that, it's put on almost $1 in the last week.
Yeah, it's been awesome. And I remember I said it to you as soon as I saw the interview for the first time. I said, wow, this guy is really excited about what they can do and the direction that they're going. So it's awesome to see them getting the rise that they have been. I didn't know helium was rocket fuel, but apparently this thing's going to the moon, so we better get ready for it.
It is, and I'll just recap. I mean, helium is required. It's a high energy coolant, or a high gaseous coolant system that you need for even for Bitcoin mining. So any kind of crypto you're going to do, and with the NVIDIA chips, any high-tech data sourcing, data mining, data storage, all of these things which we're talking about with trading platforms, with storing data, with say even with Globex, with trying to stream, all of this needs massive amounts of coolant in order to keep those chips from melting, literally melting. So we need a lot of helium, and we need it to be coming from somewhere safe, secure, regulated, and that's the Holbrook Basin in Arizona, with a team that has such a depth of experience. And Robert himself, I think it's 45 years of experience. This is a project he's loved for a long time, and like I said, you just need to watch a few minutes and listen to him speak until you realize this company is onto something.
Absolutely, yeah. Super exciting.
Wonderful, Austin. Well, have a wonderful weekend. Is there anything you want to leave us with?
No, I think just we touched on kind of everything I wanted to go over. Couple of fun little stocks that people can keep their eyes on as we move into next week are two that I've always liked. The Score Media and Gaming is a fun one. They're coming up on legalization for sports betting in Canada. I know I've mentioned that before. I like where it currently is as a price point to get in. If people are interested in that sort of thing, definitely something to check out. And Jemiah Technologies is one that you and I will take a little bit of a deeper dive into next week. Something that people should just keep on their radar a little bit. They're being built up as the potential Amazon of Africa. And I know we touched on India being a massive market. There's a massive untapped market in Africa that is only starting to get access to the internet. So that's one that we'll talk about a little bit more in depth next week, but it's just something I'd like people to keep their eyes on.
Very interesting. Excellent. Yes, I'm looking forward to both of those ones. I like the sports betting, but also this Internet Africa thing. I've heard a little bit about it. You talked about it before. It's had exceptional growth already. But yes, we're definitely looking forward to you filling us in on that one.
Perfect. Looking forward to it.
Have a great day and take care. Have a great weekend.
You as well.
Bye-bye, everyone.